So, my friends, as I enter my second Shabbat on the pulpit here at Congregation Shaarei Tzedek, I want to pause for a moment. Pause because this has been a frenetic pace of 13 days, but who's counting? Blistering intensity, tremendous number of meetings, and if I have one more Starbucks coffee, I might actually explode. Somebody take me to Stella's instead. I've only been there 3 times. And that's the one that I got lost trying to find, the one on Grant, the one near Kenniston where there's terrible traffic. I don't know why anybody goes to that place. But anyhow, so Toda Rabah to everybody. The warm welcome has been fantastic to all of the members of the staff, the clergy, the lay leaders. Everybody's just been fantastic. I'm going to point out Harry just for a moment because Ubermensch. I call him Ubermensch because he basically was an Uber. And if you don't know what an Uber is, it's like a taxi service, right? Uber. So he's been an Ubermensch because he's taken us all over town. And thank God, Harry's the happiest guy in the entire shul. We finally found a house. And we'll just be, yes. We'll be living on Beaverbrook. You're all invited for Shabbos. Polly will tell you when. Give her a call. I suggest you all come at once. That's a great idea. So much for the lazy and the hazy days of summer. Actually, should I say, these are really the hazy days of summer. Hazy, meshuggah, absolutely meshuggah. As we stand in shul davening, we think about all the individuals impacted by this experience of the fires, the wildfires. And I have to say, even walking in this is very difficult for those of us who have a little bit of breathing tzoros. And I never thought I had tzoros. I thought I never had a problem, but in the last few days I've realized, it's amazing to breathe in and out and to have clean air come in. So let us hope and pray that this situation is addressed in the not too distant future. Maybe some rain or some winds will help move things along. This is not the first time in my life that I've experienced this. We had this a couple of summers ago when we were working at camp in the Cleveland area, and the young people really suffered, especially those who had allergies. So let's pray for the end of this period of time. I have to say that I'm deeply moved and humbled, in fact, by all the warmth and all of the wonderful opportunities that people have suggested that they want to help us with. If I have one more guns knish, I think it'll be too soon. But no, it's really wonderful. They're all in the freezer. We have to get rid of them before Pesach, I understand. We'll be working on that. But thank you. The food, the drink, the love. Somebody made us a challah yesterday, which was delicious. We were so hungry that we ate it before Shabbos. And then we went to Rena's house and had more delicious challah. So my pants almost don't fit. But it's a good thing. So 13 days. 13 days. And it feels like so much more. I'm reminded of a verse from Amos. That's the famous Amos, not from the cookies, but from the Torah, from the Tanakh. He says, Hine yamim ba'im. But do you not have famous Amos here cookies? No? You do have it. Okay, this wasn't a funny joke. Okay, thanks. Hine yamim ba'im. There are days that are coming. Vehishlachti ra'av ba'aretz. I'm going to send a famine into the world. And he says, Lo ra'av lalechem. It will not be hunger for bread. Velo tzam'a lamayim. And not thirst for water, but rather ki'im lishmoa et divrei Adonai. What do we hope for? Not bread and not water, but rather to hear the sounds of God's voice reverberating. It is clear to me that here in this shul, people hunger and thirst for divrei Adonai, from the words of Torah. And as the Talmud teaches us, as much as the baby wants to eat, as the calf wants to suckle, how much more so does the mother want to provide the sustenance for the baby? Anybody who's been a parent knows that. We want for ourselves goodness, but we want even more goodness for the people who come after us. When we were kids, we went out to Winnipeg Beach and to Gimli, mostly to Winnipeg Beach. And I remember something from Winnipeg Beach that I have tried to share with Polly, and I think it still exists. You'll let me know. But I remember something that was called the artesian well. The artesian well. And what happened with the artesian well is sort of naturally, and I'm not sure that it existed during the winter because things are a little cold here, but water bubbles up from the earth sort of organically. And I remember the taste of that water, unlike some of the other water that maybe we had out at the beach. This was the elixir of life. This was mayim chayim. It was cold and delicious, and as we say in Yiddish, it was epis amachaya. And if you don't know what amachaya is, I'll translate it for you. It's amachaya, which means it uplifts your life and gives your life consequence and meaning and rejuvenates you, spelled J-E-double. It rejuvenates you. And that's what our Torah is. It rejuvenates us. It gives us meaning, purpose. It gives us a sense that the work that we are doing in the world is sanctioned and sanctified, and reminds us that that work is incumbent upon us, that we cannot shirk from our responsibilities or obligations, because if we do, who will do the work that needs to be done if not us? So I want to turn with you to the Torah portion for today. You heard it is Balak. It is Balak. And Balak, of course, is the king of Moab. And he turns to a very famous individual, probably the greatest prophet of all time. And you're going to say to me, but wasn't that Moses? Wasn't Moses the greatest Navi, the greatest seer of all time? And so the commentators tell us over and over again that Bilam was actually a greater prophet than Moses. Just he had one little flaw. And that flaw was that he was a megalomaniac and an egomaniac. It always was just about him. I don't know about the rest of you, but I have relatives like that as well. How are you? Fine. I'll tell you about me, right? I'm fine. So Bilam is hired by Balak to curse the children of Israel who were at the border of Moab, which means they were also on the borders of Eretz Yisrael. And as the parasha opens, we notice that King Balak does not ask the prophet Bilam to bless him or his people. Rather, he goes low, not high. What does he ask? He asks not to be blessed, but rather to have the great prophet do what? Curse other people. He does not yearn to build up, but rather simply to what? To tear down. He does not want it to be better for himself and everybody else. He simply wants what? The Israelites to be cursed by God. He is obsessed with this notion, and he wants to make sure that the children of Israel get a zetz on their head. If you don't know what a zetz on the head means, a hit. They should take a hit. They should be punished. As I think about this, the truth of the matter is that things have not changed all that much. Our enemies still are very much interested in our getting a zetz. And very often, rather than advance themselves, and rather than spend time on improving their lot, what do? They point fingers in the direction of the Jewish people, and they say they're at fault. They're the ones to blame. Don't talk about what we have done. If we've done something, you are far worse. And we all can go through the script. It's tired, it's old, and in fact, it is false. And it doesn't matter about the collateral damage for some people. It didn't matter at all to King Balak and the prophet Bilam. These people's laser focus, it's a hyper focus that's toxic, is on causing harm to the children of Israel. Somehow or another, our suffering is going to bring them some kind of satisfaction. The primary focus and motivation is to destroy, to kill, to tear down, in an attempt to annihilate the children of Israel, believing that if the children of Israel are gone, all that ails them will disappear. Not much has really changed over the course of history. There are still folks who want to whack-a-mole the Jewish people. And they whack-a-mole the Jewish people, believing that in the whack-a-moling, by putting us down, they will raise themselves up. What a terrible way to walk in the world. It was the plan, but it was thwarted. Balak did not get his way. And so too with all of the similar enemies that we have encountered during the course of our history. God does not allow Balaam to curse us, and only blessings emanate from his mouth. By the way, can you imagine how it felt? He came to curse, and he opens his mouth, and out of his mouth come words of blessing. Kelavi yakum, he says, you, the children of Israel, rise up like a young lion with a lot of gesund. How goodly are your tents, matovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. He was probably hitting himself upside the head as these words were ushering forth from his lips. In contrast to the murderous perspective of our enemies, this week's Torah portion predicts that our nation will be altogether different. We are different. That is what kadosh means. It means sanctified. It means separate. It means different from everybody else. This blessed quality has characterized us until today, as we are a nation that radiates or, that radiates light. It sanctifies life and makes the world a better place. A nation we are fixated not on tearing down like other individuals, but rather on building up. Ask yourself the questions, the heroes and the sheroes, the heroes and the heroines of tradition in this country, in the United States, and throughout the world. How often are they Jews who are at the forefront of doing the social justice work that needs to be done in our world today? Because we are interested, ahava, achva, shalom, vereut. We're interested in creating fellowship amongst humanity. Brotherhood and sisterhood, I was told that fellowship is not a good word to use, so I'll use brotherhood and sisterhood. Friends, as we listen to these words, let us double down on our efforts. Let us pray that we will be the light that the world needs, that the people of Israel will be able to help vanquish the darkness and the oppression that so many people feel. I walked the streets of downtown Winnipeg for the first time in 3 decades. I noticed a lot of darkness, a lot of needy individuals, a lot of people putting out their hand and asking for a little bit of support. Thank God I brought a lot of loonies and toonies with me. Haven't said those words in a long time, loonies and toonies. Was able to hand them out because my father, may God keep him going for at least 120 years and then renegotiate with him, told us that when a person puts out their hand, put something in it. That is a message that we as the people of Israel have brought to the world. I pray that goodness and blessing will descend, and may we have the opportunity sooner rather than later to live in an epoch where we acknowledge that God is God and that every nation has a role to play in the world, and that we will continue to be what we've always been, a beacon of hope and optimism to a world desperately in need of blessings. We, Am Yisrael, we, the people of Israel, are uniquely positioned to catalyze the kind of goodness and sweetness that we are talking about here today, so that when people sing of us, they will sing of us the way in which even our enemy sang of us when Balaam and Balak sang, Matovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. How goodly and pleasant are your tents, O Israel, a people who have come into the world to call out that God is God, to bring justice and mercy and love into the world. If we're able to do those things, not only will we change the course of history for ourselves, but we'll impact on the world around us and bring it closer the time of a messianic era. And let us say together, Amen. Shabbat Shalom.